cure from the pests, obeying contradictory reports. The reports is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own conclusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
The main criterion for impact strategy is measurable social impact. Apple is a good example of how a business had measurable social impact. We can measure how many people had smartphones when the iPhone came into existence, and even further, how many companies make smartphones today, and how many companies made smartphones prior to the iPhone. In order for nonprofit organizations that are impact-focused to gain funding, they must show measurable social impact. So how do we do that? Well, in order to measure social impact, we have to understand the environment or world that we are in, and then envision the impact we want to make. A goal should be measurement, so the program gets better with the same resources. Resources need to be devoted to measurement. Successful measurement includes measurement at the beginning, midpoint, and endpoint. Pinpointing what the NPO is accountable for drives a measurement design that works. A measurable outcome is a realistic vision of what we want to see happen. An example of measurable outcome is the Head Start program. The goal of the Head Start program is to bring about a greater degree of social competence in young children, and in particular, those of lower income families. The measurable outcomes of Head Start came from a 10-year study. It shows significant immediate gains in cognitive test scores and socio-emotional test scores, as well as health status. Head Start is very successful in improving the general health of the children it serves, providing needed health care and improving existing health care within communities. Head Start has been associated with positive changes, which usually results in increased and more comprehensive social and health services for poor and in more responsible educational programs. One of the best ways to get measurable outcomes is by using the logic model. The logic model is a pyramid with inputs at the bottom, or base, and measurable outcomes at the top. Inputs drive activities, which drive outputs and give us measurable income. We make a lot of assumptions in assuming that the inputs we use will create the activities we want that will give us the outputs that we want, and in the end, give us our measurable outcomes. The next layer on the pyramid is outputs. A good way to come up with outputs is using the acronym SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timeline. That is, we must use specific activities that are measurable, attainable, realistic, and with a good timeline. Next on the pyramid is activities. What specifically are we going to do to get to the output stage? Using Head Start as an example, the output is improving the health of the children. The activities they use were every child in the program seeing a nurse weekly, and every child getting a nutritious breakfast and lunch. Finally, at the base of our pyramid is input. What resources are we going to need to complete the pyramid? That is, what kind of funding do we need to fund the activities that will give us our outputs and, in the end, our measurable outcomes? In conclusion, impact strategies must show measurable social impact. A good idea is to use the logic model to create measurable outcomes. And we must remember to devote resources to measuring those outcomes.